There are a plethora of stereotypes against women, especially strong and powerful women who go into STEM fields. And but I don't think it's deterred us in any way. I think that may have happened with the generation before us, where they didn't have that that older female to look up to who maybe has been in that position before, and now we're starting to see more of a mixture of both males and females in roles that have been in those roles for quite some time.
What interests me about that question and the three of us here, all three of us here very early on already had a lot of interest in math and science. So you're not getting the people who waffled for longer, who maybe had an interest in everything, that eventually then said, oh yes, and engineering was put out there as an option and I took advantage of it. We were all very interested in math. We knew we liked problem solving, and therefore it was easy for our mentors, our parents, and our teachers to say, well, okay, then engineering looks like a good fit. And I think what you'll be looking for when you look for equality is the mediocre female engineer. You're looking for the one that isn't driven, that's just kind of ended up there because, oh, they were good enough. And you're not getting that right now because we're here, because this is really the field that best fits our skills. And that was pretty obvious, possibly very early on. I mean, I know you moved to it a little bit later on in life, but you were always interested in science and engineering and technology. So, yeah.
I would say the biggest stereotype I see, and it's completely innocent, and I bet a lot of the people that say this don't even realize that they're saying it. But take a man and take a woman, and they're both an engineer. When you hear the man's an engineer, it's whatever. When you hear the woman's an engineer, wow, she's so smart, and that's a compliment. You just got called smart, but it's like, it goes without saying, both the man and the woman are both smart. And there's also plenty of women who are smart who are not engineers. So you don't have to be an engineer to be considered to be intelligent. So that's one thing I notice is, when they find out you're a woman, you're an engineer, you must be really smart. But a man who's an engineer, it's not said.
I think you've seen even more because you've talked more with a variety of customers, but a lot of the compliments do end up more appearance-based.
Yeah.
I said, oh yes, I'm wandering around the conference and somebody says, oh yeah, there's a tall redhead wandering. It's like, yeah, good. Like, aren't I lucky to run into the tall redhead? I'm like, okay. I mean, it doesn't bother me. I don't mind because it was totally polite, but there's definitely a visual element to many of the compliments.
I don't really feel like there have been any stereotypes for me. I would say maybe it's seen as a little bit unusual, but not too much.
I think it's more or less like our history. Like ideally, like this was considered a man's field because it was maybe typically in a very dirty environment, maybe like hard labor outdoors. But with advancements in technology and the prevalence of machinery and just clean rooms, like when you think of engineering now, you don't think of dirty and hard labor. You think of actually like using your brain to design and improve things. So I think maybe that could have contributed to the stereotype of it being a man's field. But women are just as strong and just as resilient as men. So even if it was still like hard labor or outdoor work, I think women will thrive and do extraordinary in it. But right now it's a lot of research and development and applying knowledge. So women can do it.
I don't know. I see so many more women going into this kind of thing nowadays that I think it is hard to overcome stereotypes or thoughts that, well, that's not a job for a woman. But I think nowadays that people, they're not constrained by those old stereotypes or thoughts on things. So I think you're going to see a lot more women going into these kinds of fields.